friends, it's Hipster Dearest. Dude, I'm pretty excited to finally just talk about the anime, The Promised Neverland. There's going to be spoilers in this video, obviously, so I can give my thoughts on it. It's a 12-episode thriller anime series that hopefully you guys have already watched or don't care about spoilers, and I'm so excited that season 2 is going to be coming out. I'm kind of inclined to read the manga, but I live in Japan, and there's no English manga. Now, before I get into my review, I just kind of wanted to clear something up that happened a few days ago that I know a lot of you have spammed my inboxes everywhere on. Or, you know, if you don't care, just go to this time card just to get to the Promised Neverland review. You're welcome. For those of you that didn't see that I tweeted or put in my Instagram post, I was basically sent to the hospital by ambulance because my retina got really damaged. And if you guys look on this eye where it happened, it looks completely fine. As far as the redness and the pain goes, that's all completely gone. But behind it, there's still a lot of discomfort. So long story short, so I was taking a shower and I actually only use tear-free or mild acidic products. I can't wear any beauty masks or anything because I get a really bad reaction to them, and that also includes body soap, which wasn't applied to the new bottle that we just got. This was a freak accident. I was pumping on the thing to just put the soap in my hand, but it missed my hand and just all went straight to my eye. People get soap in their eyes all the time. Do you know how anticlimactic it looks on paper that patient got soap in their eyes? It's embarrassing, but the reaction was a lot more intense than the way that I'm explaining it now. I immediately flipped the shower head up to try and wash my eyes out because that's what you're supposed to do, and all I could see was this. It was just white. The pain was so excruciating and I could not open my eyes, so we had to call the ambulance and they basically wrapped me up. They did the pH level test on me and I was crying yellow. They professionally washed my eye out and just doused me in painkiller eye drops, which we still have to apply to my eye 6 times a day for the next like 4 days. Overall, everything's fine, but the medical bill though was fucking $29. That's like non-existent. I would have to like, I don't know, start a meth lab or something to pay that off. But as you guys can clearly see, I'm pretty much okay. I'm going to be fine and my vision's just a little bit whacked out, but in a few days time it'll go back to normal. So now getting right into it now, The Promised Neverland. So these are all spoilers. I haven't read the manga and I'm pretty much just going in as an anime viewer. So the entire 12-episode series was pretty much just an escape arc. You have Norman and Emma who find out that the entire system is a fraud and that they're set to just be eaten by demons, and that the system is actually just the norm of how the entire world is, and it's an extremely corrupt system where humans seem to be at the mercy of demons. Although most of the episodes were basically just making blueprints and plans for escaping, essentially Norman, Ray, and Emma had to just play on a fake persona just as much as the mom did. Whenever they were in the same room with all the other kids, they had to act like nothing was wrong. It just added that really creepy foreshadowing underneath from both characters. I gotta say, my favorite character in this entire series was definitely Sister Crone. I find her beautifully complicated in a sense. Sister Crone was a very terrifying character that started out as a potential obstacle for the kids, and she wasn't entirely bad, but not entirely good either. She simply helped the kids in hopes that she could become a mom herself by putting Isabella out of the job. But Isabella was a step ahead of her the entire time, and Sister Crone is then sent off to be killed. In the end, she just hated the world and hoped that the kids wouldn't end up as corrupt as her and Isabella turned out. One thing I wanted to know was what the hell the pen was used for that she left Norman to find. Now, little birdie told me that the pen may or may not be used to kind of get into some sort of shelter that I don't know about. They sort of just glossed over that, and I'm sure they're gonna bring it back in the future episodes in the next season. Now, another thing that Sister Crone was obsessed with was this doll, which I've heard is actually not even in the manga, so the whole time I thought that maybe the doll was connected with her obsession to become a mom. In the beginning, it kind of makes you think that all adults are just corrupt and that these kids are just put on the short end of life, which I guess, you know, is a little bit reflective of real life. But at the very end of it all, you kind of figure out that everyone, including Sister Crone, including Isabella, is pretty much a victim of everything. But all the times that Sister Crone would sort of just talk to the doll, I feel is just a tool for her to kind of vent her entire feelings. And at the end of it all, when there's this mysterious grandmother and the demon who kind of just puts a rose through her heart, that last segment where she says, "I hope that you kids escape this hellhole that we've created for ourselves," kind of ranked her a little bit up on Best Girl of Promised Neverland. Definitely one of the more complicated and one of my more favorite characters in this series. Now let's talk about Isabella, the mom and the antagonist of the entire series, and set up the stage for all viewers to pretty much hate this mother, thinking that she is a heartless bitch. For the most part, she pretty much is. She then finds out that Norman, Emma, and Ray know about their fate and what's really going on. Isabella does whatever she can plan to stop them. She's someone very clever and no doubt seemed as one of the most notorious mothers out there, because it turns out that there's other farms that have kids that all have moms, and from what Sister Crone had said when she got hired, it seems that Isabella is definitely one of the most highest ranked moms on the list. Now, if you guys remember in episode 1, there was this face that Isabella had when she sent Conny off to be killed. I mean, she's clearly not happy seeing that Conny died. Then when she sent Norman off to the demons, Norman asked her if she was happy. Isabella looked surprised once he asked that question, and it cuts off there. Now, at the very end where Isabella came and ran after the kids and she finds them jumping over the cliff, she was pretty much content of letting them go. Now, I thought legit that she was just going to jump over that entire cliff, because there was like a small segment of her past where it seems like when she was a little girl, she tried jumping over that cliff herself, which would only suggest that she made it considering she grew up to the adult she is now. But instead of jumping over to go chase them, she instead just kind of accepts it, and in fact she wishes them luck on their journey. Now, it could be for a few reasons. One of them could be maybe she just assumes that they're not going to make it because they still have a lot more obstacles out there in the real world waiting for them. Or maybe hinting at the flashback of episode 12, she could have had it pretty rough as a kid and she realizes that they are so desperate to not want to stay here that they're willing to risk their lives to escape this place. And there's some sort of respect she's sort of giving to that notion that they went this far to plan behind her back on how to do it. As far as her flashbacks go, we know that she has this best friend that is no longer with her, and it's possible after that it sort of just snapped her and she just decided to become a mom. Also, just a little side note here, during the escape, did anybody notice this character? Like, is he supposed to look like Norman? Just with a really dopey face? It's like someone took free transform on Photoshop and just kind of condensed it down into the head. So with episode 12 done, now Isabella is stuck with a little cute Filipino Philip. I think he's Filipino, I don't know. But Philip's in on the entire operation as well. He's very well aware of what is to wait for him. And in 2 years' time, Emma is supposed to come back to save the rest of the kids. Provided how in the hell Emma's even going to do that. As far as Norman goes, I don't think he's dead because, I mean, we didn't see him die. The last thing we saw of Norman was him asking Isabella if she was happy. And we didn't see her reply, but maybe they had some deep conversation and she let him go. I don't know. I'm being way too optimistic here, but the fact we didn't see Norman physically getting eaten, even though nobody really wants to see that, tells me that something possibly happened. But then again, I mean, Isabel came back and she was just like, Norman's dead. That's it. I just feel like that would be too easy. And with knowing how clever Norman is, I just don't think he would accept fate that easily. I can already see the manga readers being like, oh, you have no idea, Aki, do you? I would be a little bit freaked out if I even had kids and they were half as intelligent as Norman was at his age. As far as Ray and Emma goes, Ray is definitely the most realistic person when it comes to the three of them. Even though at times Ray just seems like he's being a pessimist, I mean, he really is just being a realist in situations. Emma's definitely the more emotional and lover type. She cares about all these kids and she doesn't care what it takes. She's willing to even sacrifice herself if so. I was pretty surprised though with the fire scene in episode 12. I legit thought that Ray set himself on fire. I was like, bro, you have so much to live for. How could you already be ready for death at that early of an age? These kids are way too mature, guys. I thought that he was fried, and then like it turned out that they just had meat, threw it in the fire, and Isabella comes running in like, what's that smell? You think Isabella in bed was just sitting there like, oh, breakfast, someone's cooking up some sausages, wait. And then she comes running in there and she's like, oh my god, it's on fire. Much more dramatic than that. But I love how great of an actress that Emma was, and she fucking locked Isabella in and was just, fuck you, I'm taking the kids and I'm out. Now that this season's done, there's just a lot of things I'm worried about. Like, where are the kids gonna go after this? What's gonna happen to Philip? Is he gonna just be taking care of everyone? Are they gonna be transferred over to a different farm now so that Emma doesn't come back for them? But Isabella, I'm just kind of going all over the place with these characters right now, but Isabella almost did a 180 of my thoughts on her when you saw her flashback. I feel like she's just kind of like on the same mentality as Sister Crone was in the last minutes of her life, where both of them think everyone is just a victim of this messed up system we have, of humans just being at the mercy of these fat, ugly demons who want to eat our children. From here, I think we're gonna start seeing a lot of things outside of that farm now unfold, and more into the system on how everything works. Because as far as I know, the audience is kind of a little bit more oblivious to the world just as much as the children are, because in the world of the Promised Neverland, all I can think about is that the world is just demons and farms and kids ready to die. But if there turns out to be an entire civilization of adults out there, then I will be honestly very surprised. And Norman has been alive this whole time as an accountant at Wells Fargo, and Emma and Ray will become school teachers for the children, and they'll come back eventually for Philip. I was just as shook as Ray was in the final episode when I found out that I underestimated all these kids and was proven wrong every single time an episode came out, and their skills were just a lot more than meets the eye. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the Promised Neverland. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What are you guys expecting next? Who's your favorite character? Do you like Isabella? Do you like Chrome? Leave it all in the comment section down below. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and subscribe to my channel for more anime and otaku related content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!